on episode 79 of It Would Seem As Though, we actually have a topic and we're going to get to it. We are going to talk today about makeup and the beauty industry and beauty standards in America. So sit back, relax, and listen to another episode of It Would Seem As Though.
It would seem as though.
Oh my god, hi.
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Here we are.
Again.
We're back.
Another day in paradise.
Another day with a pair of dykes. What?
Oh, that's not us.
That's not us.
That's not us. We're not here.
No, we like the men's.
Yeah.
They wear us out, but we still like them.
I mean, and here's the thing. If sexuality is a choice because being attracted to men, who chooses that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who chooses that? Nobody. I'm just saying.
No. Welcome to another episode of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
Yeah, I'm Vesta.
I'm tired. Well, also Annika, but not as tired today. So
Good.
Annika.
Yes, you
you
look
can
all-
call me Annika for short.
All right. Well, you look all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Well, let me tell you, these 2.5 weeks off of not needing to go to a hellish landscape and have my soul sucked out of my butt. Let me tell you, it's been a dream come true.
Your soul sucked out of your butt.
Let me tell you, Starbucks figured out a way. Yeah, so I just feel good.
I didn't know that was a thing, having your soul sucked out of your butt.
Now you do, girl.
Now I do.
See, when you know better, you do better.
I'm learning things.
But yeah, I was telling Gavin last night, I was like, I don't feel worn out. Obviously, I'm not going to work. But it's really nice that I feel like, oh, I'm a person again. I don't feel like that constant dread of needing to go to Clackamas Town Center to work in the fucking Starbucks.
Well, I think for me personally, I mean, I haven't done it, but I think the idea of waiting on entitled white people all day long, ugh.
Girl, it is horrific. And I want you to know, my old store, the demographic of Starbucks is literally everybody, right?
Yeah.
My old store was Happy Valley proper, so it was bougie white people.
Yeah.
And then I went to the mall.
And it's mall people.
And I'll tell you that I worked at Misty Drive, the where all the white people were, for about 4.5 years, and I would have stayed at Starbucks if I could have gone back to my store. And it wasn't because of the customers, because I don't like customers anywhere. I want you to know
right.
that.
No,
I don't like
they're
customers
people, and people suck.
anywhere, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
But I do think that I built a rapport. I was comfortable because I knew the people, right?
Sure. Well, yeah, because you get a lot of regulars.
Right, and that's what it is. And it's not that, all these rich white people made me super comfortable, but I was, that person that they saw every day that was a differentiation of what they were going to see, you know what I mean? Who they were going to go interact with, what they were going to go do was going to be predominantly rich white people. And so I was a snarky, low-class bitch, you know what I mean? Who was taller than most of their husbands, and, they got to see something a little different. And I like that, because I was, it's not like I'm overly nice for no reason.
No, why bother?
I don't do that. I like to lead through sarcasm and then empathy, but not nice. I want to be nice.
Nice.
Nice
is overrated.
Ugh. And it's such a
because nice to me, nice usually feels phony. Mm-hmm. Kind, very different.
Right. And I learned that when I lived in LA, and I said, "Have a nice day" to a woman. She was like, "Nice is kind of a boring word." And I said, "Have a great day," because nice is kind of
have the day you deserve,
bitch. But if someone says, "Oh, they're nice," I don't want to be known as nice. I want to be known as hysterical or intelligent or kind or compassionate. But nice is just boring.
Well, to me, nice is fine.
Fine.
It's fine.
Well, and everyone who knows me knows if I say I'm fine, I would double check that. I would double check that.
Well, because fine to me is just I'm going to answer you, but leave me alone kind of word.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I say I'm fine, it's I don't want to put any more thought or effort into this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm fine so you'll stop talking to me.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny to me is when I say I'm fine, your husband will look at me, he'll give me that look.
No, you're not.
Fine, as in you just don't want to talk about it anymore, or fine as you're not okay. He reads into it. And I'm makes sense, because that's how I communicate. I'm fine.
Yeah.
That.
I was just telling the kids the other day, we were talking about, because I was cutting their hair, and don't try this at home, I'm a professional. By the way, I don't know why, just because you have a working uterus, you should think it means you know how to cut hair.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Isn't it, though? All you do is like, I popped out some babies, now I'm going to cut their hair.
Don't do that.
Well, unless you're trained, you're probably going to do a crap job and traumatize your children. I speak from experience because, well, one of 6 poor children, my mother always cut her hair.
Oh my God.
But what I was telling my children is that when I was a kid and my mother would cut my hair, she would always make comments about how fine my hair was. Well, as a little kid, I thought that just meant like, oh, it's fine. Like, that's nice or whatever. And it wasn't until I was a little older, I was like, oh, she means my hair is fine and thin and you know, that I have crap hair.
Right.
It's like, well, that was a letdown.
Yeah.
Because really, I never thought she was complaining about my hair until I got a little older.
Okay.
And I was like, bitch, don't cut my hair anymore then.
Yeah, bitch, I'll do it myself.
God.
I'll dye my hair fuchsia.
And I did.
On accident. Or purpose?
No, I was going for red.
Yeah.
And it turned fuchsia. Since then, of course, I've done it a million colors and every color.
Oh, I know.
Some horrible colors and some good colors.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried everything and yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway. But yeah, fine. No.
I'm fine.
But when people say, how's your day today? I will say, it's all right.
Yeah.
Because fine.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I will, unless it's great.
Yeah.
But, like, I have a day where I'm like, I'm tired, my body hurts, whatever. It's all right, I'm here. Yeah. Or the other thing I say is, well, still above ground.
Yay.
So,
yay!
That any day above ground is a blessing.
Girl, the only time I'm going underground if someone's burying me alive, because I don't want to be buried.
Oh, no.
No. I mean, I don't think it's that scary. I don't know. I would much rather that than you throw me in the water. I would much rather be buried in the earth and go back to Mother Nature than ever be buried in water.
There's a man who I follow on TikTok who I think is hilarious.
Okay.
And I feel like I might maybe sent you this video, but he's talking about, and it's a black man.
Okay.
And he's talking about when his white husband said, let's go scuba diving. And he's like, what in Caucasian hell is... That's like a hate crime? Do you know me? Are you wanting a divorce?
Honestly, that's me.
Like, you want to go breathe through a straw while looking at animals that might eat you.
Ooh.
No.
I want
like, no part of that. I know. It's just no.
I dated that douchebag in Los Angeles, Chris, and his parents were very wealthy. And they took us on a trip. We lived in San Pedro, which is the very most southern point of Los Angeles. It's a peninsula, and it's where the port is. But anyway, on the ocean side of it is Catalina Island, okay?
Right.
And Catalina Island is like so many miles that if you turned it the other way, it would touch San Pedro. Like, they're that close, right? So it's not very far. But we went, and I said, great. Can't wait to go to an island, surrounded by water. And they had all these things planned.
Well, that is kind of the definition of an island.
I know, but I said, okay, well, there's other things to do. No, they had, like, made plans to go snorkeling in the cove and to go, like, scuba diving and to go on the boats. And I said, I'm not doing any of that. I said, I'll go on a boat, bitch.
Sure.
We're going around the cove. But, like, I'm not going in the water. Like, you want me to... I can't. You mean right now? I can't. No. So
I'm gonna book my ticket back home right now.
Right. And so I was like, no. And this is when I was young, so I was like, I'll drink. I'll sit at the bar and drink, and you guys go die in the ocean, because bitch, I'm not. I don't care.
Well, it's like when people would say to me, like, "Hey, do you want to go with us? We're gonna go skiing." It's like, sure.
Yeah.
I won't ski.
Sure.
I'll sit in the lodge and look cute.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
And maybe have a nice hot cocoa
I
by
do
the
love
fire.
That. I do love that, because I do love snow outside. I don't like to be outside in the snow, but I do love the snow outside. Yeah. But now that I work at Starbucks, girl, I'll never have to try to get to work when it's snowing. What?
Right.
Crazy.
Right, at 4 a.m.
Girl.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I'm not going... When people say to... All right, I'm just going to throw a couple things out there.
Say it.
My cousin, who I love and adore, Anne.
Oh, yeah, love
love.
One of my favorite people, yeah.
She's an amazing human being. But she said to me one time, she goes, you should go on our girls' trip.
No.
I think you would love it. And I was like, well, tell me about this girls' trip. What happens?
What's the tea?
Well, we drive 457 hours. Yep, already you've lost me. I think it's really like 3 hours.
Where are they going?
I don't know, Eastern Oregon, I think.
Oh,
I don't know where they're
Oh, I
going.
thought they went to the beach often.
They do, but this is a girls' trip once a year.
Oh.
They go somewhere. I don't know where.
Sure.
But it's hours away.
No.
So, strike.
I hate it. Thanks.
And we stay at this cabin on the lake. Okay.
Love.
And we spend most of the day floating on the lake. Strike 2. And we drink a lot of booze. Strike 3.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, so they drink, float on the lake, and then
Stay in the cabin.
That's
like,
it. And I'm all, none of that sounds like fun to me.
No.
I mean, I don't tan intentionally.
No.
I don't drink.
No.
I don't like water.
Right.
I don't like long car rides. Or so when people said to me, oh, you should go to Hawaii. I think you'd love it. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do in Hawaii? Well, we go snorkeling and we go deep sea fishing, or we do, whatever. I'm like, no. We lay on the beach. We get
no, right? And
none of it to me sounds appealing. There are things in Hawaii. I would love to see Hawaii.
Sure.
Because I know it's a tropical paradise. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I would love to hear real indigenous stories of Hawaii, of the actual culture.
Yeah.
And not the made-up culture.
Right.
I would like to see the USS Arizona, which is a little freaky because when you're on the thing up above, you can see the ship below that sunk. But you're on, somewhere. Yeah, I know.
It's still so scary though, and especially when they're like, water is so clear that you can see to the bottom, and it looks super clear, and that's like 150 feet down.
Yeah,
that is. I want to be. If I no what. I have personal reasons for never probably going to Hawaii.
Same.
And
I'm sure I'll never go.
Right. And like I've always wanted to. Thought it would be stunning. It would be amazing. All those things. But I, am so enraptured in like indigenous sovereignty that so many white people going to an island that should belong to indigenous Hawaiians. It's sad to me. And like when Native Hawaiians are living in cars because people are buying up property and like renting with
they
Airbnb.
can't afford to live in their own land that's been theirs for
and
hundreds of years.
I have a very close friend who is Hawaiian, and I know her family. And I said I would only go to Hawaii like if they invited me with them. Right, that's the only way I would go because I just don't feel comfortable. Like I've done a lot of like research and reading and studying on like indigenous people, and like I don't want any white people to come onto my land. I don't want any people just to come look at my shit because it's different or it's like a destination. Like I just think, I don't know. If you go to Hawaii, I'm not like trying to hate, but like if you go to Hawaii, like do right by the natives, by the locals.
Yeah.
Don't be another white person.
Go to small locally owned businesses that are owned by indigenous folk.
Yeah.
Because there are those things there. You have to probably go a little out of your way. It's like when we went to Alaska on our honeymoon. Anytime you go on a cruise, there's like the cruise sanctioned businesses that they want you to go to. Well, they want you to go to them because they've paid to advertise with the cruise ship. So, all of these places that are usually right where you dock, there will be like closest to the dock businesses. But they're all the ones who have the money to afford to say, we want to be part of your cruise thing. Well, what we did is we went and found small, locally owned businesses and shopped there.
Yeah.
Like we went to a jewelry store where the man made all his own jewelry.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Well, and like I think people they don't have a sharp grasp on like what tourism is. And yes, tourism brings money to specific areas, but like the indigenous people aren't seeing that money.
No.
The locals of that place are not seeing that money. That is not going to them. And so like...
No, but they're certainly using some of the culture to make that money. Because like when they do luau's and the different things where it's like all these white people pay to go see a roasted pig and dance the hula. And it's
and Native Hawaiians will usually teach them the hula, right? But like the hotels, all that resort, none of that goes to the indigenous people. No. And it's just commodifying and it's just appropriating the location and the culture and being like, come stay in Hawaii. But like the average local Native Hawaiian is not making anything from that. They're probably being more hindered because all of these giant white-owned corporations and hotels and resorts are taking over their land, which is like ancestral, important, spiritual land to them. So, and like, my last little tidbit, Native people didn't believe that you could own land. They were like, they tended to it. What is the word?
Right.
What is the word that I'm thinking of? Yeah. But they took care of it, and it took care of them. They lived with it, not on it, right? And so the whole idea of colonization and people, like, cutting pieces of land and being like, you can buy that for that much.
Even, all the way back to when I was a child, that was always such a weird concept to me, especially when the colonizers came here.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's this big country that isn't owned by anyone, but it is already inhabited. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to claim this piece of land for my own, and then turn around and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell this chunk of land that wasn't mine to start with, but I claimed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what the movie... There's a movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Far From Home, maybe?
Okay.
Where they're Irish immigrants who come to America. And when they come to America, they're brought to this place where they're like, all right, here's your flag. Go run and, whatever, find your piece of property and claim it. And they're all just running and, like, sticking flags in the ground because it's like, I'm claiming this land for... You do see that there are people here. Mm-hmm. You're taking what isn't yours. And I've always thought that was a really strange thing. Or, like, when New York was sold, or when Alaska was sold.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's like, what? How do you own?
That's right. And that's
just so curious to me.
Yeah, the idea of owning pieces of the earth underneath you. There's so many loopholes. I have so many questions. What happens if a sinkhole? Do you own just the physical space? Do you actually own the dirt and sediment? Like, what are you owning exactly? Is it just the perimeter? Like, I don't understand it. And it is, I don't know. It's just like I know there's always been not always. Throughout a lot of history, there's been private land ownership. Lots of Europe, right? Because this is like royal people had their, whatever, aristocrats, whoever. Rich white people had their, their own estates and shit. So I get that. But it still makes me feel uncomfortable because it's such like an individualized idea of life. Like, I, as this one person, need this, the Palace of Versailles or whatever it is, like,
right.
And there's like 7 people who actually live there and everyone else is a servant. But like that whole property, how that could have done so much more for so many people, right? And I know that's like an example. I'm not trying to shit on the French, whatever, but like, you know what I mean?
Because now all the French people who are listening to our podcast are going to be so mad.
Listen, but like one person will hear that clip and then share it with all of France. And,
and then France will declare war
and have you
on
seen
us.
how they riot, girl?
Yeah.
They're gonna come burn our houses down.
So the other day I was watching this clip, and this is specifically about what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about Aaron and Candy Spelling.
Yeah.
Tori Spelling's parents. Mm-hmm. They lived, when Tori grew up, in a 50,000 square foot house.
My.
Now, just to put it in context, our house is a little less than 3,000 square foot. Mm. The average home in this area is about 1,800 square foot. 50,000.
That's so insane.
For 4 people. Because it was Aaron and Candy and their 2 children, Randy and Tori.
Yeah. And they had a whole
the actual fuck?
Though.
Well, you have to have a whole slew of help because, one, you have to have a Sherpa to get you to and from room because you're not going to know where you are. You have to have people that are going to clean all that dust trap. Uh-huh. 50,000 square feet. That's a lot of dust. And then you have to have the, your cook, your butler, your maid, your whoever, and all those things. But it's like, why on earth would you need 50,000? That's just grand for grand sakes. If you had a huge family, or if you were like, we put this branch of the family in the west wing, and this branch over here in the east wing, and whatever, that makes sense.
Sure.
But even then, I bet there are apartment complexes that aren't 50,000 square feet.
Oh, I bet you. Oh, I bet you, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, that's just ridiculous.
It's like, no, there's no point to it, right? You're just rich for being rich. And that to me is like, it's just nauseating.
Well, and my idea, like for myself, of if I could have the perfect house for me, it would be about as many square feet as my house is now, but all on one floor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that it feels like you have more space,
and
a lot of open space is what I would want, so that you can have, like, when you have little parties and stuff, it doesn't feel so cramped.
Agreed.
But I don't need some ridiculous castle that,
No.
you know, I think about, so, Buckingham Palace.
Right.
The people who actually live there, who are not employees, is the king and queen. 2 people.
Uh-huh.
Now, from watching The Crown, I learned that there's another, I'm sure it's another palace or whatever, but it's a big building where they put all of the peripheral kind of royalty. So they each get their own apartment in this place, and the apartments are huge. But it's like the queen's sister has an apartment, and well, they're all dead now, but it doesn't matter. But it was like, you get an apartment, and it was like, that seems much more reasonable to me.
Oh, yeah.
That you have this huge, huge place, but everybody has an apartment in it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and then, so, Balmoral is a castle in Scotland.
Okay.
The Queen Mum, when she was visiting Scotland, went up and was like, oh my god, look at this beautiful castle. And the owner of the castle, it was run down, whatever, but it was one man living in this castle. And he's like, well, I'll sell it to you. Here's my castle. Well, I need another castle. I only have 3.
Yeah, right. Right.
The whole idea is just like, what? How?
Yeah.
Why?
That's
Why?
nuts. I know.
I do need another castle. I have been wanting another one.
Yeah, I only had few. I need more than that.
See, now to me, the idea of like, I wouldn't mind having a little place in Scotland to go with my place in Ireland and my place in Europe, whatever.
Sure.
But you need another castle?
I know.
I would think a little cottage would be fine.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not going to be there all the time.
Probably not even most of the time.
No, you're going to be there a couple times a year, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that the Queen of England, was it Queen Victoria, when she was queen, was Queen of India and never set foot in India.
Yeah, it's gross.
And it's like, and why the fuck are you Queen of India?
Yeah, it's gross.
Why do you have anything to do with it? Why are you Queen of Canada?
I know.
Why are you Queen of places you've never been, or places you have no business being? You know,
there it is. Yeah.
Like parts of Africa?
Yeah. Gross, right? I know. I think it's so fucking gross.
And then they name places in the, like, Victoria Falls in Africa is named after Queen Victoria.
Ew.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm sure, like every other place, they have an indigenous name.
Right.
You know, for that they don't call it Victoria
That's
Falls.
what I was going to say. I would say, like, I have a lot of friends who learn the names for, like, Mount Hood and Mount St. Helens and use their indigenous name. And I love that. Do that. White people are awful. Like, that mountain is not called Mount St. Helens. You know what I mean?
Right.
The indigenous people were not calling it Mount St. Helens.
No, because the places around here, especially in the Pacific Northwest, that have kept their indigenous names, are the ones where white people are like, I don't know how to say Smamish,
but there's
or Snohomish.
But I mean, Multnomah, Clackamas, like those are all like indigenous terms and tribes, right? And so I like that though. I like that even though I hate Clackamas the place, I do love that has kept like an indigenous name. There's only a few places that I know, like the Michigan also has a lot of indigenous names. A lot of it's French and a lot of it's indigenous. Weird. But yeah, I've always really appreciated that about the United States. About the Pacific Northwest is like how much they've kept. But I mean, it's still colonization.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it still is. Though colonization is not even our topic for today.
It sure isn't, but we've gone on about it.
We have, but it just popped up and tangents are topics.
You know,
we talk about what we feel like.
I know. Well, and in line with talking about indigeneity, you know how I have a second interview tomorrow.
Oh, I do.
Or the National Indian Child Welfare Association, or NICWA. So that's exciting. It's I clarified with her and she's like, it probably won't take that long. We just like to make sure we have enough time because it's all over Zoom and there's 2.5 hours scheduled. And I said, holy shit.
I'm gonna need a nap in there, and I'm probably gonna need to touch up my makeup, and maybe let my dogs out a couple of times.
Honestly,
and maybe a snack.
It's a very long time. So, yeah, we should see how that goes. But I really want this effing job, so here's to hoping.
It sounds exciting. It sounds good. And we were talking about this a little earlier. It also is the opportunity to do something I've never done, which is to negotiate a salary.
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, because like literally as a young person, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
But I also only had jobs that were not skilled labor.
Okay.
Like I worked in a nursing home. I worked at a gas station. I worked at a factory. And you didn't negotiate unless you were higher up. Mm-hmm. Like at the factory, unless you were a supervisor or whatever, I'm sure you didn't negotiate salary. You got minimum wage or whatever it was. You know, I was so long ago, I don't remember. And then I worked at a salon where you're paid a percentage because you get, wow, just fell right out of my head. Mm-hmm. Commission.
Right.
And then owned a salon. So I've never negotiated a salary. So the idea of that to me is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And the fact that you now have the education and the skill to do that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
It is weird because I've never done it before either. You know, I mean, switching...
Well, no, because you worked in retail.
Yeah. And
or
I think
food service.
Switching companies in management is a little different, right? Because I could say, like, well, this is what I need, and there's a little more of a negotiation. But it's not, like, the scale of what it can be. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It is much different. So, yeah, I'm very excited, and I hope that it works out. I've been knocking on wood for the past, like, 24 hours.
Sure.
So, yeah, everyone, like, I don't know, light your candles, burn your sage, say your prayers, do some blood
Dance
magic.
naked in the moonlight.
Yeah,
whatever
honestly, whatever you have to do, but do it.
Anyway. Just speak it into reality.
Yes.
Put it out there, which is what I've been doing, saying, you know, well, when you get the job.
I know, right?
You know, because from what they've said, though, it sounds like they are planning to give you a job.
I know.
So, and let's hope that's not just the way that she talks.
I know.
You know,
Can you
saying,
imagine?
well, you know, we're doing this because all new hires do this. And,
right.
you know, when you start working for us, not if.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, says they've already made a decision.
Well, and part of my...
But I don't know because I have not applied for a job in so many years that I don't even know kind of the landscape of that anymore.
I mean, I haven't applied for a job in 5 years, right? So, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, considering part of the interview is like an all-staff Zoom meet and greet, you know?
Yeah, that sounds to me like they're... Because why would they have you meet the entire staff unless the entire staff has some input as to whether or not to hire you?
Yeah.
Because then it would make sense if they're like, well, there's 17 of us that work here. I don't know how many people
I don't know either.
And everybody gets a say in whether or not you're hired.
That's awful.
Yeah. But and it's also not likely.
I know.
But then why else would they... Because they'd be like, oh, I liked her. Why don't we get her?
Because I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But the idea of having everybody meet someone who's just a candidate is
and
unlikely.
You're paying people to be there. You're scheduling this on their work day. I know, it's really weird.
So
it feels
we'll
weird.
find out soon. By the time we do this next week, I'm sure we will know something.
Something, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
But, you know, our actual topic today, which we are getting to right now,
are we?
Is we're going to talk about makeup and the beauty industry and beauty standards and that sort of thing. But since we were just talking about your possible, you know, new gig, I want to talk, and being, you know, with the being... say it again. What is the full...
National Indian Child Welfare Association.
Right. So, the first thing I want to talk about is indigenous makeup brands.
Yeah.
Because there are... I knew there were a few.
Yeah.
But I've learned that there are several, which I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to name a few.
Yeah.
And some that I've actually tried. There's one called... Blended Girl Lashes.
Okay.
And it's blendgirl.com.
Okay.
And it is owned by Navajo Makeup. I love it. Navajo Makeup Entrepreneur. I love it. Such a good word. Shi Fanchi. And love that.
I do love that.
Yeah. Cheekbone Beauty Lipstick.
Cheekbone. I love Cheekbone. And I
Have
also
you used
love
it?
I've used like a lipstick before, but yeah, it's cute.
Okay. Also indigenous. I don't know how to say where she is. She is Jennifer Harper. It's
Anishinaabe.
Yeah, Anishinaabe. So there's two. Intertribal Beauty Cosmetics.
Oh, Intertribal. Okay, I've heard of them as well.
Which, that one I've actually heard of prior to this.
Yeah.
They are, the woman who founded it, Brittany Amatrano,
Okay.
it identifies as Hidatsa, Lakota, and Black. So she founded this company, and it's interracialbeauty.com. Now, the one that I've heard of and the one that I've actually tried is Prados.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually the first one I knew. The founder, Cece Meadows,
Okay.
has a multicultural background, but Prados Beauty, it's also one that when you buy it, that they also give back a little something.
Right.
So
Right.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they don't give back to like random charities; it gives back to their people.
Yeah.
Which I love that.
Girl, I'm about it.
So they're putting aside some amount of profit, and I don't know what the amount is.
Okay.
But it does go to help their own people.
I
And
love that.
Mm-hmm. What was the other? There was another one. Ashi Beauty Botanical Firming Toner. And this one is more just like beauty products. Yukon Soaps Essential Oil and Matching... but it's Yukon Soaps.
Okay.
And they have like body oil and bath oil and soap and different things that are all made by... They're not made by like some big machine. They're all handmade stuff.
Right. Okay.
So, what you got?
Oh no, I
Nothing?
don't.
You got nothing?
Well, I was listening to you talk about indigenous
You were
brands.
listening to me?
Unfortunately.
What? How weird.
But not even just like makeup and cosmetics in general. I typically try to look for things that are made, not necessarily just for indigenous people, but made by indigenous people, because I think that's important. And I mean, I'm sorry, indigenous people of the Americas taught Europeans how to bathe. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna go.
That
with
is
what
such
they
an
think.
interesting concept
Girl,
to me.
it's weird.
That when white people got here, the indigenous folks were like, "Y'all stink.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Do you not know where the water is?
Hey.
Get yourself to a river, clean yourself, and wash those clothes for Christ's sake."
Right. I know, but I mean, it's shocking to me to think about time periods like Elizabethan time when bitches didn't bathe as often. You know, it was like so infrequent
Right.
that was the norm. And I just remember after I, birth parents lived in a hovel, horrible.
Right.
But like with grandma, like I was showering daily, you know what I mean? All of the things that normal people do. But I can't imagine that lifestyle of just like being unclean and everything is
No.
unclean. I get grossed out if like my blanket that I have on my couch I haven't washed it, and if I haven't washed it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I found interesting learning more about that particular time period was that women carried flowers so that they could smell that and not whatever stench they smelled like.
That is crazy.
Because they could just hold it up. It's like, oh, everything smells great. No, nothing smells great. Y'all are filthy and disgusting.
Filthy and disgusting. And not only that, like perfume has existed forever.
Right, to try and mask
Yeah.
your stench.
But I mean, you guys could just bathe.
Yeah. Ugh.
I know it's like a lot to ask because lots of people didn't have running water or whatever. Then just go jump in the Thames. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, go hop in the river. Go find a little pond.
I'm
Whatever,
saying,
a good mud
it's not like
puddle.
you're in the goddamn desert.
No, you're in...
Just 'cause
they
everyone's-
were in London where it rains all the time.
Yeah, stand outside naked. Is that worse?
Well, I suppose it depends on where you are.
Oh, God.
I
guess.
I also want to talk about queer-owned makeup brands.
Yeah.
Some of which I have used.
Yeah.
Some of which I've just heard of.
Yeah.
One of the bigger makeup brands that's black-owned that I wanted to also throw out there was Bobbi Brown. Not to be confused with the singer. Or Millie Bobby Brown.
Bobbi Brown is also... Bobbi Brown's a makeup artist.
Yeah.
So not that Bobbi Brown.
Yes.
She's a white woman.
What?
Yeah. Girl.
Well, ignore me then. I maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
I was like,
sorry. That's why I should do my homework.
like the Bobbi
All right,
Brown.
don't listen to me.
Yeah, Bobbi Brown makeup artist is
White woman.
is she a white woman?
Sorry, God.
Oh, she a white woman.
She's really white.
Yeah, girl, she white. She's for
Alright.
like, yeah, is she white?
What was I thinking of? That? I think I was thinking of her, but I don't know, and I didn't.
Pat McGrath was Oprah's makeup artist for a long time, and she's a black woman, and she is like one of the top makeup artists in the industry, and she's one of my favorites. She's brilliant. So I don't know who you're thinking of.
Who knows? I was drunk this morning.
Just smoking
so,
crack today.
You know, I put while you were out letting your dogs out. I put all kinds of booze in my coffee,
well, that's
so that
good.
I could get good and drunk before we started.
Love that for you.
Sorry about it.
You will be. I know. Well, I didn't like look up brands, so please continue.
One of the ones I want to talk about is Kimchi.
Oh,
So Kimchi,
yeah.
who I adore, is a drag queen who had some amount of fame before she ever went on Drag Race,
Right.
Because she is an amazing makeup artist,
Right.
And so she, I think it's just funny that she just kind of started by doing Instagram and different things where she just posted pictures of her makeup and would do really kind of anime style makeup and different creative things where it wasn't just beauty makeup.
Right,
It's
okay.
all beautiful.
Sure.
And it's all super creative.
Yeah.
So by the time she went to Drag Race on season 8, people knew who she was.
Right.
Right? Well, then after Drag Race, she started her own cosmetic company, which is called Kimchi Chic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's blown up. It's huge. It's also really good makeup. And it's totally affordable.
Mm-hmm.
It is the very first makeup owned by a drag queen to be featured and carried in like pharmacy, like CVS,
Wow.
Fred Meyer,
Yeah.
local places, because it was just all strictly online.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to a couple places like Sephora, like those kind of places, and now it's kind of everywhere.
Cool.
And that's huge.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, and when people talk about, well, do you think she'll ever do like Drag Race All Stars or any of that? It's like, why?
Yeah,
She doesn't need to. She's
doesn't need
killing
to.
it in the real world.
Yeah.
And if you go to kimchichic.com, it's hard to say, but kimchichic.com, look at her makeup. It's all beautiful.
It is, yeah.
But it's all, like I said, it's affordable and it's in every shade.
I
So
love that.
anyone can use it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I have, what do I have? I have some different blush, some bronzer, and an eyeshadow palette I think I have from her. And then some some glitter.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's called Diamond Shart.
I hate it.
But
funny.
it's amazing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
wonderful that this Korean drag queen, who, by the way, when she started doing drag, no one in her family knew she was doing it.
Crazy.
When she went on Drag Race, her parents still didn't know she was doing drag. You know,
Crazy.
because they would not have approved.
Right.
But now she's this big business mogul.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
And
I
they're
guess
like,
they're probably okay with it now.
Now we're proud of our rich gay son.
Right, right. What was also interesting, and this is an aside, when she went to Drag Race, I'm not, so I think she's the same age approximately as Trixie. So she was in her late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
She was also a virgin.
Oh,
like, huh.
Oh, Chimchi.
I know.
Oh, Chimchi. How cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and then of course that makes me think of Trixie.
Yeah.
You know, Trixie Cosmetics, which is also wonderful stuff. I have a whole bunch of her stuff because I'm kind of obsessed
Same.
with Trixie.
I don't own a lot of her makeup. I want you to know that I've like gone down in my makeup realm, girl. I don't really buy I don't buy bougie makeup anymore.
Well, now that I barely ever wear makeup, I own better makeup than I've ever had in my whole life. Because that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've been spending lots of money on makeup that I don't wear. So, I mean, I wear makeup when I do my shows and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now I've gotten back to wearing a little daily makeup, but it's very little.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to. But I also, now when I put on makeup, I want to put on good makeup. Because when I was young, I couldn't afford good makeup.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford anything.
Sure.
So it was like, I'll get this cheap, like, Wet and Wild kind of price point.
Love it.
But Wet and Wild, although a lot of it's crap.
Mm-hmm.
Here was my favorite thing about Wet and Wild lipstick.
Okay.
You would put it on to go do the show, whatever, the next day. You could not get it off.
Oh, perfect.
It would stain your lips.
Yep.
So here you are with no makeup on and, pink lips or purple lips or whatever.
Let me tell you, I currently own Wet n Wild, cheek makeup. So it's a blush, but it's more of mineralized skin finish.
Okay.
So it helps blend everything and melt into your skin. And then I have highlighter because Wet n Wild highlighter, girl, they pop the fuck off. That is the highlighter I use all the time.
Okay.
And
is that what you have on now?
Yeah, and it's literally $5. So I love it, and I will probably always use it. Just because for me, I'm so fair that people will be like, this highlighter looks good, but it casts a shadow because I'm so fair that it looks too dark on my cheekbone. Oh. And don't dull my fucking cheekbone, bitch, because I'll cut you with them. You know what I mean? But when I need it to be lighter and really bright. So and they have some that are so good for it. But I use
and that's one of the things, because following Trixie on YouTube, she will do her full beat with different brands, and I've seen her do it with Wet n Wild, with NYX, with just random drugstore cosmetics and stuff. But she has lots of good things to say about the Wet n Wild now.
It is
because it does have some good products.
Well, and there's something that people need to
realize. And it's totally affordable.
Oh, completely. There's something people need to realize. I feel like not even that long ago, when I don't know, was first, beat my face real hard. So 16, 17, I would say that drugstore makeup had a really, really bad rep. It wasn't good. The formulations weren't good. It was not quality makeup, right? Now, because it was after Morphe was a thing, and literally every person had their own eyeshadow palette. Yeah. Everyone had their own, everybody, right? It blew up.
Well, right, because all of the influencers on there, all got their own thing together.
All of the Instagram, Facebook influencers all got to work for Morphe and whatever. They all made their own makeup. The only one who's still doing it is Jeffree Star, but fuck Jeffree Star. Trash. Racist trash. Anyway, but drugstore makeup really stepped the fuck up. And so there are a lot that people consider. So NYX is one of them. Elf is another one that people can
Elf I've not used Elf, but I've heard really good things about it.
Right. And so the lower drugstore brands really stepped their game up. And so honestly, most of my makeup is Target based.
Okay.
Because I have some stuff from Sephora, but one of my foundations is a Maybelline foundation. Okay. Oh, and concealer and contour Maybelline. I have the Wet n Wild highlighter. My bronzer is even Wet n Wild. I have a lot of stuff. I have some things that are still I have MAC and I have Chanel, and I have some things that are still carryover from when I was wearing more expensive makeup. But yeah, girl, I wear predominantly, and I focus more now on skincare. So I put my money more so in skincare, and I can still obviously beat my face flawlessly with what I get at the drugstore. So I just want, I for the past couple of years, it's really been focusing on formulations of what I'm putting on my skin that's going to stay there, opposed to makeup I'm going to take off.
All right, so walk me through kind of your process. So you wake up, obviously clean faced, because I know you have a whole routine in the evening. Yeah. But so you wake up, you're clean faced, you're going to put on a face. What do you do?
So in the morning, since I just did my routine last night, I'll usually just use a makeup wipe. That, the Costco Kirkland brand, no big deal. Sometimes I will wash it, depending on how, if you've slept and you have there's some dog hair in my face or whatever, right? I'll wash it, but I use...
that would be the side effect of having dogs.
Honestly. So what do I use? It's a CeraVe foam, cream to foam kind of wash. And I like CeraVe because it's dermatologist approved, and I like them because they're sensitive, right? And so this one's for sensitive skin. I do that. After that, I'll spray my face. Dry it off, and I'll spray my face with a facial spray. I have a couple different ones. One of them is just a hydrator that has collagen infused. Another one I have is just vitamins and minerals. And then I have a setting spray that I would use after makeup, right? So after that, my face is wet. Then I'll usually put a hyaluronic acid. That's a very deep penetrating serum that will hydrate from within.
Okay.
And in the morning, I'll usually mix it with vitamin C. And I have a couple different forms, but the one I use is a little powder that you mix in and put it on. Some people don't like it because it feels a little gritty initially. It's not harsh, but it's a little gritty. So I do that. And then I'll usually spray my face again. Because since hyaluronic acid pulls water from where it's at, I like my face to be more wet when I do it. That way it's not pulling hydration from my face.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well, that makes sense.
And then I use just like it's like a thicker serum. It's not quite a moisturizer. You put that on, and that more like locks it in, another boost of hydration. Because I focus a lot on just staying hydrated, because you're keeping your face hydrated is like the number one way to stop kind of all the issues, right?
Yeah.
Like sagging skin, fine lines, wrinkles, all of that. And then usually I'll put on like my normal face cream, which is also CeraVe or Cetaphil, I can't remember, but just basic face cream for sensitive skin. And then I'll put a sunscreen over it. If you're wearing vitamin C on your face during the day, you need to wear a sunscreen, because if not, your skin becomes more sensitive when you have vitamin C on it. So that's usually what I do. And maybe it'll like vary a little bit, but that's predominantly in the morning what I'll do.
And that's all before you even start makeup.
Yeah, because I don't use a primer with makeup. Primers are pointless. If you have good skincare and you have like this really solid, hydrated, moisturized layer of oils, creams, not oil, but like cream, serums, all that, your makeup will look better and it will sit nicer. And so that's how I've done it for the past few years. I stopped using primers. I stopped using shit that was like clogging my pores, because I really thought it was important to, I told you yesterday, I want to keep my skincare up, so people keep asking me, do you ever age? Because, girl, I love it. And then at night, I do a thing called skin cycling. It sounds more complicated than it is, but one night I'll do like an exfoliation. So like a toner that exfoliates, right?
Yeah.
I'll do that. And then, spray, serum, hydrate, moisturize. And then the next night I'll do retinol, which is for fine lines and wrinkles. And then I will spray, serum, moisturize. And then the next 2 days I'll recover. So that's when I'll put like a bunch of different serums on, and I'll put different eye creams on. So it's like I'm exfoliating, I'm using retinol, I'm recovering, exfoliate, retinol, recover. And I've done that for the past year. And my skin it looks the best that it's ever looked.
Okay, because I know that a lot of people talk about that so many of the things you can find on the market are just, they're all the same.
Right.
Or they don't really do anything. Because there's so many things that are like, they will give you will look 10% better. Well, 10% better than what? Right. Or your skin will, it stops aging in its tracks. Or blah, blah, blah. There's so many taglines of things where it says that it does something. But you say your routine has made your skin better and healthier.
Well, people like to do things, and like that's the thing. People don't know how to use products. It's like your skin in general, much like your hair. Like you went to school to learn about this. Your skin, there are so many like layers and factors and issues and things that you could run into that you need. You can't just do the same thing consistently and all the time, or be sporadic about it. Right? You have to be consistent in a routine that is going to be healthy for your skin, and all skin types are different. But also, you can't just be like, well, I put the serum on and my face doesn't look different. Like, no, it has to be a consistent thing. Yeah. And it is true. If you're looking at, I want to get this product because it says it has retinol in it. Again, retinol is like a serum, good for your fine lines and wrinkles, or it helps not have that shit happen. If you're looking at the ingredients and retinol is the very last ingredient listed, then don't buy it, because that means there's such a sparse amount of retinol. Right. The top ingredients, first 5 to 7 are going to be the most concentrated. So if you see retinol there, more quality, because then you have other things to look for, like if it's not just like a bunch of filler or like any sort of like Vaseline type liquidy shit. You don't want any of that. But there are websites, I can't think of them off the top of my head, where you can look up any cosmetic product and it'll tell you what's in it, and like it'll grade it for you, whether it's quality or not. But I started doing that. I started to look at the ingredients of what I was putting on my face, and not just being like, well, this says.
Right. Well, because I don't think most people would think to look at an ingredients listing on makeup, because you'll look at it for your food, to make sure there's not a bunch of crap in it. Yeah. But I don't think I would think to look at my makeup and for ingredients.
And for me, when it's...
Or skincare.
Skincare specifically, it's because, like, I'm not a rich person. I'm not going to spend my money on shit. I don't want to rather. I don't want to spend my money on things that aren't going to do anything or don't actually have the formulation to do it. It doesn't make sense to me. But I still buy things that are very like quality that are not super expensive. Because there's two brands that are pretty well known for being very low price and like have high formulation. And it is The Ordinary and the Inky List. I started to step away from The Ordinary because I was reading some bad reviews and their formulation's not as good as the Inky List, but you can get both at Sephora.
So what is the other one?
The Ordinary.
And what's
the Inky List, like Inkey, Inky.
Okay, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, but they're both like a serum. So like I was telling you the other day, there's like my hyaluronic acid. I buy it for $10 through Inky List. You know what they call like luxury cosmetics? It would be like $50+, you know? And then I started integrating a Korean brand in their CORX, something like that. CORXS, Corix. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, but their products are really good too. Korean skin brands. If you can figure out how to translate what it's saying, lots of them have quality product at the cheap. But yeah, it's just knowing what to use and how to use it. And finding, and not being like, well, this product says that it's going to change all my wrinkles and it's just water and glycerin. Like, that's not going to do anything for you, you know?
Yeah.
But I started taking more interest in, like, what I was putting in my body, like eating, consuming, what I was putting on my skin and how I was taking care of my hair. Because as I get older, again, I don't want to get older.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I get it. I absolutely get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to just throw out a couple other queer-owned.
Yeah.
There's one called Good Light.
Okay. Love that.
And it's, it says their mission statement is they're pushing past the beauty binary.
Okay.
Their products are animal-free and vegan. Animal cruelty-free and vegan.
Love.
And they are BIPOC-owned. And they give a percentage of sales to True Colors United.
Love it.
Yeah. So I love that.
Hell yeah.
What was that? Oh, About Face, which I've also used. About Face is owned by Halsey.
Oh, wow.
It's also vegan, cruelty-free. And their whole thing is just that they're wanting me, that it's also trying to avoid the binary.
Yeah.
It's like, it's for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Common Air, and it's HEIR.
Mm-hmm. Like an heir to a throne.
Yes. Started by Angela Urbias, who's lesbian, and Carrie Lynn, who are both women of color.
Okay.
So I love that. So queer women of color, love that. Mm-hmm. So those are just a couple to check out.
Yeah, I love that.
Trixie Cosmetics, I know I already said, but go to TrixieCosmetics.com. There's a whole list, of things. There's lip color. There's everything.
Yeah.
They're literally everything. And I've tried the lip colors, the blush, the eyeshadow palettes, the glitter. I think, maybe is that it? I don't know, but I love all of it.
Yeah.
It's all good quality. It's all... And she, unlike a lot of makeup companies that are owned by, famous people... Yep. She actually has her hand in every bit of it.
Yeah, I love that.
She's not just like throwing her name on something.
Like, it looks good.
Yeah, I'm going to you go ahead and make that
Keep up the good work.
But she's also collaborated with a lot of people to make different palettes. And
I love that. Yeah.
And they're all fun.
Yeah.
Fun colors, fun things. So check out Trixie.
Yeah.
Because, she, poor thing is, barely rich enough.
I know. She's barely scraping by.
One of the other things I found this one I thought was really cute. It's called Freck Beauty.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Where they celebrate freckles.
Oh, cute. Okay.
And I know you probably noticed that freckles have made a comeback.
Sure.
Because for the longest time, everybody was trying to cover them.
Yeah.
And this celebrates them, which I love that because freckles, I think, are beautiful. And it's like, when I see people I was noticing the other day, because we've been watching the X-Files, that Gillian Anderson, when they show good close-ups of her, you're like, oh, she's freckled.
Yeah.
But they've, it's the 90s, so they covered a lot of it up.
Yeah.
So you have to really look. So I see her in some newer things, and you can really see her freckles.
Yeah.
But freckled redheads. It's all,
Yeah.
for the longest time, that was what you didn't want to be.
And yeah, people now just paint freckles on their face with makeup.
Yes.
Or people use henna and like stains, like
stain freckles under their face?
Yeah. And
I have not heard that.
Sometimes it looks really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing they're like, forever it is, the beauty industry has said, you got to cover them up because they're not attractive. It's like, and this company does the opposite. It's like, no, girl, celebrate it.
No, girl.
Celebrate whoever you are, whatever you are.
No, don't.
Don't celebrate yourself. Who you are. Hide it, cover it up, don't do it.
Yep. I agree. Everyone should hide their faces.
Yeah, I know. Volition Beauty is also cruelty-free, vegan, and eco-conscious. So their packaging is not it's not a bunch of plastic.
Love that.
So yeah, and they have all kinds of things for your skincare and cosmetics.
Your head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Also, queer women of color owned.
Crazy.
So yeah,
I love
all
that.
the things.
Who knew the queers or the women or the people of color could do things?
I know. Go figure.
I can't even.
Well, first of all, a woman owning a business? What is that about?
I know. I didn't think they allowed queers to own businesses anymore.
And queers owning business. What?
Corrupting the children.
I know. Well, absolutely. And that is, of course, what's happening all over the world is the queers are corrupting the children.
Yeah, it's the queers' fault.
And the white people are mad about it. The Republicans are mad.
I know. But when aren't they?
I know. I'm going to just mention this because it was funny to me, and it's absolutely not related to anything we've talked about. But I was watching this clip this morning of I want to say it was Michelle Boebert, one of those idiots in Congress, was asking this woman if she understood how much China hates the USA. And the woman's like, yeah, I don't have any proof of that. And she goes, well, then you should read Breitbart.
Oh, right.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And the woman came right back and she goes, so I Googled Breitbart.
Yep.
Because, we can do that. You have a phone in your hand there.
Yep.
And she's like, and it says right here how Breitbart is, homophobic and misogynist and whatever. And most of it's opinion.
And like right-wing
opinion.
Yeah. And because Lauren Boebert said that to whatever person they were talking to, but then another congresswoman, her last name was Crockett. I don't remember what her first name is. Davy. She's a black woman, but she was then like, so I heard you were told to go to Breitbart, and then she read all that out loud, and I'm like, girl, serve it. Like that is so funny to me.
Right? Because Breitbart is what?
Trash.
It is actual garbage, mama.
Yes, mama.
So back on the whole makeup thing, I want to say. That, I've been wearing makeup for a minute. Maybe. I started wearing makeup in high school and wanted to do, I wanted to look natural.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But natural makeup in the 80s and the late 70s wasn't a thing.
No.
It was all heavy and it was all, good luck trying to get it to look natural.
I know.
But a lot of people did the kind of natural look, but it didn't look natural.
I love it. You come to school with your eyelashes out to here and your multicolored eyelid. And
like what? It's natural.
I know. I was born this way.
I just put on a little brown, a little, whatever. But I'm gonna say, listening to you talk about your skincare routine.
Yeah.
I am so lazy when it comes to I literally moisturize my face in the morning and at night, and that's about it. That's my skincare routine.
Do it, girl.
But listening to it, I was like, oh, maybe I need to change up and actually take care of my skin, my 61-year-old skin.
I'm not.
That people also ask me, they're like, do you age? And
all right, you're 40.
Nope.
I'm not here to make anyone feel bad. I'm just. It's like when people don't. Here's the thing: when people, there's those people who don't put on lotion after a shower.
Yeah,
that stresses me out because I'm like, how do you just sit around without being moisturized? But since I was a child, because that was grandma was always like moisturize, and so it's weird to me. And I know lots of people don't do it. I know most people probably don't do it, but it's weird to me.
It is weird, and I've always been one of those people that has moisturized my entire life, because again, learned from the same person.
Yep.
But I do know people who don't ever. And I'm all, what?
I know, ew.
But it's funny to me because when I hear people say, oh, I haven't read a book since high school. What?
I know.
Wait,
Who hurt
how?
you?
What? Who?
Did a book hurt you?
I don't know how. Yeah, I can't imagine not using moisturizer.
Oh,
and it's like, in fact, I can't stress enough how important it is. So when people say to me, "Don't you ever age?" Well, part of why I look like I don't, or at least as rapidly as, well, say someone else is aging, is because I moisturize all the fucking time.
I'm also going to add to that, everybody, wear a fucking sunscreen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care who the fuck you are. Wear sunscreen.
Right. Whether you're pale or whether you're dark, wear sunscreen.
Because skin cancer is no joke. Also, that is the first thing that's going to age you. That and, like, smoking.
Yeah.
So, drinking.
And on my 40th birthday, and we're out of time, actually, but on my 40th birthday, when I was out with a friend and they were talking about how young I looked, and it was like, well, that's because I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't go out in the sun. You know? And if I do go out in the sun, I'm slathered in 50
Well, it's
SPF.
funny, too. People think that's boring.
SPF.
People are like, that's so boring.
Yeah.
What do you do then for fun? I don't know. I have a fucking personality. What do you mean?
What?
I know, crazy. She's crazy, girl.
So I'm just going to say, as we close out here, I'm excited that next week we have a special guest.
Is it next week?
It is next week.
Holy
Next
fudge.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
My very special friend, who I adore, Miss Vivica Valentine.
Mutualita sister.
Yeah. Jess.
Yes, Miss Vivica.
Yeah. We're going to talk about next week. We have a topic. We already have our topic for next week, which is unheard of. But
oh my god.
And we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? I know what we're talking about.
Discrimination in the queer community.
Within.
Yeah.
Not against, which that's very common, but within is also fairly common. And we're going to talk about that because as a queen of size, a queen of color, you know, it's like...
A drag queen.
You know, you get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we're going to stop talking because it's time to go.
Because I'm sick of it.
So... do you want to do the stuff? No, I have to do it like every...
Yeah, you have to do it. You're in charge.
Fine. So send us an email. Send us your thoughts, your questions, whatever you would like at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com.
Jamal.
Like, share, and subscribe, and find us on any podcasting app, except apparently Stitcher. They're going away from doing podcasts.
How rude.
I know. I keep getting this notification going, we're almost done. August 1st, we're not going to do it anymore.
So nobody go to Stitcher.
Go to iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcast.
Honest.
And, and come back and listen to us again next week.
And we'll have a special guest, so come back for sure next week.
And
our
tell a
second
friend.
one.
I know.
Yeah.
So, bye.
Okay, bye.
It would seem as though